All right. Welcome, everybody, to Las Vegas post-race. The 2023 South Point 400 has been completed. Kyle Larson is your winner today. And real quick, let's get into the... Wait, where did my mouse go? There it is. Okay. Let's get into the playoff standings as we have it right now before we get into the race itself. Larson with the win will continue on to the championship 4 at Phoenix. I'm just saying, I picked Kyle Larson to win the championship this year, so I might be right. I know, very, very far reach on that one. By the way, be sure to like the stream, click the like button, subscribe if you're new, and we will talk all about this race and championship. After Larson, we have Byron +9, Truex and Hamlin +2, Bell -2, 16 back for Tyler Reddick, then Ryan Blaney 17 back, and Chris Buescher 23 off the pace. Yes, of course, pending inspection, Kyle Larson is the winner. Looks like, I don't know if NBC is going off for good now. No, it looks like they are. NBC is closing out their broadcast. I don't know if they have post-race show. I would hope they would. But if not, that's why you're here. Let's get into the finishing order of this race. Kyle Larson wins by 0.082 seconds over Christopher Bell, holding him off just enough, blocking him just enough to ensure the victory. After that, in third, we have Kyle Busch, then Brad Keselowski comes home fourth. Ross Chastain with the top 5 in fifth. Then Blaney in sixth. Seventh is Byron. Eighth, Tyler Reddick. Ninth, Martin Truex Jr. And Denny Hamlin rounds out the top 10. Then you have Chris Buescher in 11th. 12th will be Joey Logano. 13th position today goes to Bubba Wallace. 14th, Eric Almirola. Daniel Suarez in 15th. 16th, Kevin Harvick. 17th, Michael McDowell. Then 18th, Austin Dillon. 19th, Corey LaJoie. And 20th, Harrison Burton. 21st is AJ Allmendinger. 22nd, Justin Haley. 23rd, Austin Cindric. Ty Dillon with the 24th place finish. 25th goes to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 26th is Ryan Preece. That is the last guy on the lead lap today. Todd Gilliland finishes a lap down in 27th, as does 28th place finisher Eric Jones. After Jones, you have J.J. Yaley, a lap down in 29th over Brennan Poole in 30th -1. B.J. McLeod, a lap down in 31st. And Chase Elliott with a bafflingly bad day on pretty much all fronts in 32nd, lap down. Chase Briscoe, 33rd -4. Ty Gibbs, 8 down in 34th. Then Alex Bowman in 35th, and last place, 36th place finishing Carson Hocevar. Both were out of this race. This race was the 2023 South Point 400 that went for 267 laps, 2 hours, 57 minutes, I should say, 10 seconds, 20 lead changes among 7 leaders with 7 cautions. I want to thank you, Sly Supersonic, for the 218, saying Christopher Bell earned a lot of respect today. Yes, good, clean racing on his front. And then let me go one more time over the playoffs. It is Larson in with the win, Byron +9, +2 for Truex and for Denny Hamlin. So 2 back at the moment is Christopher Bell. Then 16 back for Tyler Reddick, 17 back for Ryan Blaney, and Chris Buescher 23 points out as we run right now. Let me grab these post-race results, make sure they're all in the right order. I believe they are, so we'll pop those up at the top of the screen and have those running throughout. Let's get into this race, though. So starting with stage 1, we had Christopher Bell on the pole. Elliott and Suarez would be starting from the rear of the field. Neither would be factors, really, for the win at any point today. No other way, really, to put it. It only took 3 laps for Bell to be passed by Kyle Larson, Larson would shoot out to the lead. Let's be honest on this one. Kyle Larson was the man to beat. There was no other way of looking at it. Bell was the only one who was close to him, and damn close he came. On lap 29, he would track Larson back down, and Bell would go back to the lead. Of course, MTJ would follow. Truex for the first half of the day, really good. Did not put a full beginning, middle, and end to the race together. Had a good finish. Truex still came home 9th, but those are crucial points. I mean, 2 points ahead right now could be a lot more if he were to put the whole race together. Sirens running past as we talk about it right now. I don't know if y'all can hear him, but I can hear him. But yeah, Truex is 2 points ahead right now. And that charge he made at the end, going from about 15th to 9th, that is 6 points extra. Good Lord, everyone is dying out there today. But that charge of 6 or so positions that he got at the end, that is the difference. If that weren't the case, he would probably be 2 points behind Christopher Bell as we run right now. But still, again, this has been the issue with Truex this whole playoffs. Yes, he finally has a finish above 15th in the playoffs. Okay, hang the banner. But this is a round of 8. He did well enough so far to stay in front. But 2 points up over Christopher Bell, and then you still have, I believe, 16 points over Reddick when you have Homestead coming up. I can't say just yet, as well as Truex runs at Homestead and Martinsville, I still do not trust that 19 team just yet. Same with Denny Hamlin. Those positions that he lost at the end could be the difference at Martinsville. We saw last year, he was in position coming off turn 4 on the final lap at Martinsville. And then, of course, the Hail Melon happened. But crazy things happen in this playoff system. And Denny Hamlin losing 2-3 spots, 2-3 points, that could make a huge difference in 2. Thank you to Transportation Fan 0923 for the $4.99 Xfinity race. Really spread apart finish. Cup race, really close finish. Kind of interesting. Yeah, I mean, they are the best of the best up in Cup. But I also think that 98 just whooped them yesterday. But going on through, though, past the initial fight for the lead, on lap 33 is when you have pit stops begin. The only one who really was nabbed by any means was Ross Chastain, got caught speeding, though he was able to recover to a top 5 finish. So no harm, no foul, really. Larson would cycle out way ahead of Bell, though. That's how he got back to the lead. And I believe Chase Elliott got lapped, though he would be able to get it back on the ensuing yellow flag, which came from Eric Jones bringing out the caution for a right rear flat. It's another thing today. I thought the racing overall wasn't bad. I think it was better than the spring Vegas race, but at the same time, it wasn't the greatest mile-and-a-half racing we've had with the next-gen car. I saw some say race of the year. I wouldn't go that far. Good finish. And solid racing, but not anything really I would write home about it. I think Kansas still was way better. Charlotte clears, But the tire issues were the big issues of the day. And we saw it here with Eric Jones bringing out the caution, bring up a restart with about 10 or so left in the first stage. And at this point, it was Bell on 2 tires and Larson on 4. They were side by side for about a lap, but the 4 tires would prevail. Larson had the better car. He'd prevail, and he'd win in the first stage over Bell. Then Brad Keselowski in 3rd. 4th was Reddick. 5th, Truex. Truex needed these stage points really bad with how piss poor that team's been running so far. Then Blaney got a 6th place run in the stage. Hamlin 7th. 8th went to Kyle Busch. Then Kevin Harvick and William Byron with a 10th place finish, getting 1 point. Still, 9 points ahead right now. That point matters. But getting 1 point in the first stage. Thank you to 670 Horsepower Package Win. 5 for 5. Larson dub. Let's effing go. Logano won this race last year and obliterated Phoenix. I would say, and I'm going to have this be the first poll. And it's just a yes or no. By the way, we do have a poll in the community tab, so whatever you thought about the race, let me know there too. Is Larson the favorite for the championship since he won? because I believe Larson won it in the first race of the round of 8 and 21, Logano last year. So it is a very yes or no. He is pretty good there at Phoenix, but still it's not, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a gimme. So is Larson the favorite for the championship now? Yes or no question, poll starting up. But a pretty definitively good run. By the way, click that like button. Let's get to 100 likes or so. I don't know, I don't know. Let's just get to 100 likes. How about that? No time limit at the moment. Let's go to stage 2 also. On lap 87, we saw Martin Truex Jr. lead. They stayed out, I believe. While the entire pack behind him's going 4 wide. Hamlin's getting back by. Like, all these guys are racing with better tires, and then you've got this just odd decision to keep Truex out. And again, some very questionable decisions have been made atop the pit box of the 19 team this year, and this is another one. Luckily for him, and unluckily for Carson Hocevar, he got bailed out, as Hocevar would also have a flat right rear, bringing out a caution again. This time, it'd be Brad Keselowski who'd be challenging Kyle Larson, and I believe Brad actually got out front and led. Brad Keselowski looked like a true threat to win today at certain points. Did not have the all-around speed. And if I'm Chris Buescher in that 17 team, I'm wondering, what did that 6 team do that made them so good, but the 17 team just was out to lunch for pretty much the entire day? And yeah, I know it's probably dumb that I picked him to advance out of this round 2 as my like wild card kind of last pick. But I really thought that he and that team had cleared a corner. It just seems like mile and a halves are a struggle for Chris Buescher and that RFK team. But on lap 122, there was a little contact between, I believe, Logano and Tyler Reddick. There was nothing really too bad. It was just bumping and really aggressive racing. I think Blaney also had that too during the race. I can't remember who he had it with, but there was a lot of contact. Definitely using up those carbon fiber bodies. But the save of the race came around halfway, lap 142, a little bit past halfway. Kyle Larson comes off turn 2. Looks like he's completely spinning it out. Smoke is billowing out, or starting to billow out from his tires. He kind of smacks the wall off to a little bit with the corner of like the rear bumper, but nothing really happens. He saves it and keeps it going. Just an amazing save. Another Kyle Larson moment. If you could ever put together a Kyle Larson moment, that would probably be one of the top ones there. But it was only a couple laps later where Alex Bowman would smack the outside wall. I believe he had something mechanical break in his car from what they were saying. And then into the tire barrier and the inside wall, bringing out the caution, which they'd be able to check that out. I mean, yeah, Noah Coleman in the chat. Slide job. That's probably like the slide job we don't want to see. Or at least they didn't. But great move. This is Larson's week. Between the stuff with getting ready with the Indy 500 deal and then this is just a Kyle Larson week. And then Larson has these a lot of times where it's just, you've got to go through him. And to his credit, Christopher Bell almost did. Those two racing each other cleanly and the way that they are able just to wheel those cars around is always really, really fun. We're going to end the poll right here. 78% of you are saying Kyle Larson is now the favorite for the championship compared to, well, it says 21%. It's actually 22%. And Isaac in the chat saying plus the dirt championship as well. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So this is just it's shaping up as a Kyle Larson week, month, whatever you want it to be. Does that transfer to Phoenix? Who knows? I would have to say, though, if he wins the championship, and again, there's still plenty of time, I still think William Byron is going to qualify. I still think Denny Hamlin is. Both those two are incredibly good competition to have against you. And Blaney very well could too. Blaney somehow makes it. 17 points back now. Going to need a little bit of help, definitely. But if he's able to make it, I don't think it's a surefire bet. I do not think it's a surefire bet. There's a lot of stuff that could happen. But at the moment, if he is to win that championship, then it's going to be real interesting hearing Hendrick fans bicker about whose driver is better. But still, long way off. Speedway Anywhere, and Nick Mangona for the 2-month member chat from Nick here. Larson led over 200 laps at Phoenix in the spring. That's a very true, I believe a true stat. I'd have to double check for sure, but it sounds like it would be a true stat, knowing Larson. But he led a lot in the spring. I agree. Can't really argue that part, but that is something to look at too when you're talking about who can win this championship. And then Speedway Anywhere for the 5. I still think Kyle will be the next 7-time as long as he doesn't F it up and get suspended again. I don't think he will. I think he's the most likely to, but it's still very, very unlikely with this system. The system is designed not to have dynasty in mind. But anyway, going back, lap 145 is when we have the Bowman caution. Top 5 had taken 2 tires, the rest took 4, and it is, I believe, Brad Keselowski and William Byron that are the top 2 on the restart. Again, it was very common to see, and it was kind of like the Xfinity race too, where you had the top guys racing side by side for a lap or 2 around before somebody finally asserted themselves as a leader. This time here, Brad Keselowski, but only 5 laps later, Kyle Larson gets past Brad. Ross tries to mount a charge, but there is not a charge to be mounted on this one. And you get Larson winning stage 2 over Ross Chastain, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, and Brad Keselowski, the top 5. Then Byron, Busch, Blaney, Reddick, and Bubba. No stage points in this stage for Truex. None in the entire race, if I'm not mistaken, for Chris Buescher. Just a missed opportunity again. Missed opportunity for both those guys in this race. Leading here to the final stage, 97 to go, we have our restart with Chastain and Bell. Bell would get the top spot easily this time. Chastain, I believe, had spun his tires from the way it sounded. And at this point, it's a lot of green flag racing. It's a lot of what we saw yesterday in the Xfinity race. Again, got to watch these Xfinity races because they do translate a bit day to day. About 20 or so laps later, there's guys, kind of trying to fight for the lead, trying to assert themselves. Bell and Brad and Chastain, they were really the main players other than Larson today, but nothing really too much was made out of it. And with 58 to go, you have Briscoe spinning in turn 2. I believe he either had a flat tire or just spun it, but either way, caution comes out again. He does get a flat regardless. And we have our ensuing restart where we have another bit of tire issues and difficulties and really setting up the stage for the end of this race with 52 to go. It's Brad versus Larson. Larson gets ahead on this one pretty easily. The pack is going 3 and 4 wide. I believe Denny Hamlin, I think at one point, was caught up in the middle of it and decided to bail out and not force the issue. He never really recovered from that restart either. But only a lap later, Ty Gibbs would go into the wall, having a right front, I believe, flat. One of his tires was off, more than anything. Wheel came off in the corner. Sounds like there was no lug attached to it. And something you got to remember is, I believe, if not mistaken, they switched this team, the original 54 team, with Bell's 20 team. And while Bell's team so far, his new team, has had some issues in the playoffs, they seem to have been cleaning it up a bit. And it's just something that is worth noting, to say the least. But with that, we have 45 to go, restarting here. Larson again gets ahead. The only real thing of note from this restart is Chase Elliott got a restart violation. I think he was somewhere in the 11th to 20th range most of the day. Again, got lapped early, then got back in the lead lap with a late caution in stage 1. Was never a factor in this race. He really was never a factor at all. And with it, again, there was another flat for Ty Gibbs. There was a lot of positions changing. Truex, like I said, had a good car at the end of this race and was able to recover, which is why at the moment he's 2 points in the playoffs as we run and not 3, 4, or 5 out like he probably should have been with the way that him and that team executed. Buescher seemed like they were starting to get stuff figured out at the end of this race. Could never get higher than what, 12th? 11th. 11th is what he got to. But not a top 10 day. Definitely not a day that you can have in this round if you want to advance to Phoenix. But there was still passing throughout. I believe, was it Kyle Busch made his way up through into a top 3 finish. Ryan Blaney made his way up. Byron lost a few spots, but still with the gap he had, he still has a 9-point gap at the moment. So nothing too awful bad for him. But the big part was Bell slowly but surely closing in. It was 7/10 with like 10 to go. Then it was 6/10 with 5 to go. Then it's like 4/10 with 3 to go. Then he's there and making that hard charge to the finish. But ultimately, in the end, he had the run. But I think either Larson blocked just enough or Bell wanted to race him cleanly. Listen, if that's Joey Logano, I think Larson is in the infield grass and Logano is winning that race. I think Bell raced him cleanly with respect. And I can't say that I'm upset with drivers racing with respect. Racing hard, but racing clean. I can't say I'm upset with it. The margin of victory is 0.08 of a second between the two. Basically a side-by-side finish, but it was pretty easy to see who won by that. But honestly, I thought it was a decent race. If I had to rate it on the poll, which I guess I can look at the poll really quick on the community tab, what'd you think of the 2023 South Point 400? Great, good, average, below average, or bad? I'd say I'd be on that good to, I'd be on the low end of good. Like it was decent. It kept me invested the whole day. Thank God, just because my team might have won, but they still suck. So I had no interest in going to that thing, and this race, helped me keep no interest on going over and watching that, even if it were to be on today. I thought it was good. If I had to give it an out of 10, I'd probably give it a 7. It was like I said, it was a good solid race. It was not a race of the year. It was not a race that I'd even probably put in my top 5 this year. Maybe not even in my top 10. There's been some pretty good races this year. But for me, it was solid enough. And for the way that Vegas with the next gen has been, for the most part, that's all I can ask. And I'm thankful that there was no basically rage quitting where 3 people got taken out, 2 of which were innocent either. I'm happy with that too. Speedway Anywhere, thank you for the $1. No comment on there, but thank you for the $1. I agree with that. Or I not agree with that. I'm thankful for that. I'm getting ahead of myself looking at the chat and who I agree with. I'm seeing a lot of people. Give me your out of 10s in the chat right now. Like, spam me the number out of 10 that you think. I'm seeing a lot of 8s and a lot of 7s and 7.5s. So again, in that good range. So yes, spam me the numbers of what you think out of 10. Just the number itself. I want to see what you all have. 3 races remaining. Remember, next week we have a triple header weekend at Homestead. We have the trucks, I believe, at noon. Well, let me see. Yeah, trucks are noon Eastern time. Then Xfinity after that. Dale Jr.'s racing again, so I'm going to be geeking the hell out. And then Cup, of course, on Sunday. And Wednesday night on Danny B Talks channel, we're going to have our 250th episode of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast, so be sure to check that one out as well. I'm seeing a lot of these ratings here in the chat, a lot of 6.5s. I'm not really seeing anything outside, per se, the range of 6 to 8, which I think I agree with, personally. So, let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much, for the most part, what I'm seeing. 6, 7s, 8s. Some are a little outside. There's some of you giving 10s, others giving 9s, some giving 5s. But generally, that 6 to 8 range seems to be about where I'd put it. Right in the middle there. I gave it a 7. So, pretty base for the most part with it. Let's see. Yeah, that looks like it. And thank you to KAGG I appreciate it. I appreciate what you say. Some people would disagree, but I'm that's what I'm aiming for. But y'all, I think that about covers it today when it comes to anything about this race. If y'all have anything more, let me know in the comments down below. Leave me your final 4 picks in the comments after this live stream ends. And I cannot wait to see what you guys think. Thank you to Michael Kelly Gilliam for the 5 gifted memberships as well. And to, let's see, to Robbie, Willie Wide B, Not Surix, Zach, and 670 for getting those members. I think they appreciate it. I appreciate it as well. But y'all, I think that about covers it for today. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see y'all this week in videos, as well as the NASCAR Weekly podcast on Wednesday night on Danny B's channel, episode 250. It's gonna be a ton of fun. I cannot wait to see y'all all in those places this week. And y'all have a good night. Later.